here's the bottom line to make it really simple. And by the way, before I even say the sentence, it really doesn't matter whether you take this literally or metaphorically, does it? Allegorically. Because the truth is there behind it anyway, right?
That's true.
Just wanted to make...
Absolutely. It's the literary form of Genesis, the first 11 chapters, is meant allegorically. It's not...
Are you referring to John 6 or Genesis 1?
No, Genesis 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Genesis 1, that's right.
The first 11 chapters of Genesis, for those who don't know, are considered the prehistorical stories, and whether you take them allegorically or literally, it doesn't matter. I mean, the bottom line is the truths that are being taught through those stories are the same regardless of the literary form. I just wanted to get that on the table. So, basically what you folks are saying is there were two trees in the Garden of Eden, that original paradise that God offered to humankind. There was the tree of life, which offered humanity immortality. No suffering, no death, no old age, none of that stuff. And then the other tree symbolized the tree of death, because God said if you eat it, or if you eat it, you will die. All right, so
St. Ignatius of Antioch in 107 A.D. called the Eucharist the medicine of immortality. And there you see the connection to the tree of life.
So symbolically, you had the old tree and the fruit, which caused death, of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil.
Actually, if I may, the fruit is perhaps not so important. What's important is the will. So here's Adam in his will saying no to God.
Okay.
And so I mean, the will is one of the primary operations of human being. You know, we have our being. You know, we can know things, and we can will to do something.
Freely choose. Yeah.
Right, and in that choice, that free will, that is really the base essence of what love is. So what is love? Love in its most purest form really is.
Love must be freely chosen.
That's right.
For it to be love.
Absolutely.
And hence, as some of the great philosophers would teach, animals cannot love.
That's correct.
Dogs cannot even love. Whenever I throw that one out to to my college classes, I always get pushback on that one.
Well, you know,
but it needs to be freely chosen, doesn't it?
That's a kind of a good jumping off point, because especially when we talk about the will, because we're talking about something about human nature, and I think right now there's an incredible skepticism about that sort of thing, and I think that's kind of the basis of all these things. You can't understand what we're talking about now unless you understand about the nature of things and how certain things are. One of the things that I brought up with you before was I forget his name, is Adler, 10 Common Philosophical Mistakes.
Mortimer Adler?
Yeah, Mortimer Adler. And the one thing that we always do is we tend to think of ideas, but actually we use ideas to think of things, and that's kind of a little bit mind-blowing, but I think kind of an example that I could use is a modern example. A lot of people know H.G. Wells, The Time Machine, is very, very famous. But he was a kind of a skeptic in philosophy, and he denied that you could really describe chairs. And in philosophy we would call his kind of idea nominalism. Yeah. Chair is just a naming convention for things. We really can't have anything useful for chairs.
We can't really know what a chair is.
Yeah. And Chesterton, I know John can do a really sweet imitation of Chesterton, but Chesterton said somewhere, H.G. Wells has said that all chairs are quite different. and that's a contradiction, as Chesterton went on. It's a contradiction because we can't say all chairs and different at the same time. There's something in common. There's something in common
that makes chair a chair.
And the common thing is like you have all these chairs with 3 legs, 4 legs, arms.
Little doll chairs, recliner chairs.
Beanbag chairs.
Beanbag chairs.
And
what makes them all chair?
Yeah, and
they all share chairness, don't they?
They share,
sittable.
but there's something even beyond that. Is that, you know, H.G. Wells says if you came up with any definition of a chair, you know, I would be able to refute it. And I think from a materialist standpoint, you can, you know, refute it. But I think from an Aristotelian standpoint, it's very easy. The chair has a purpose to be sat on.
What is its end?
What is its end? Its purpose.
Its final cause, as
Its final cause.
Yeah.
And then when you start talking about final causes, then happiness makes sense.
Yes. Because humans have a final cause, don't they?
Exactly. You know,
humans have an end, an objective end.
Right.
We live in a time where everything is so splintered that whatever makes you happy is for you, whatever makes you happy is for you. And to a certain degree, that's true, just like the different kinds of chairs. There are rocking chairs, there are beanbag chairs, right?
Right, but there's something about humanness.
Right,
and
there's
something
that
about fulfills
humanity.
a human being.
So something fulfills humanity of which we all share.
Right, exactly.
And that thing is common with all human beings.
Yes.
That's a commonality. What is it? What fulfills the human person?
God.
Okay, show's over, ladies and gentlemen.
We saw it all.
Sorry, I didn't mean to spill the beans. Mea culpa, me maxima culpa.
Well, I mean, that's nothing that Augustine didn't say, right? God, our hearts are made for you.
Until they rest in you.
Until they rest in you.
I'm a plagiarist, by the way.
So,
I'm a plagiarist.
There's nothing new under the sun.
Well, yeah, but there's a lot of story in between here and there. And Aristotle was a person who didn't have the revealed truth in front of him.
Right.
And so he was trying to discern, okay, what makes us happy in this life? And Christians don't deny that some sort of happiness is possible in this life.
Yeah.
But there is something beyond that.
Can the greatest things of this life make a human person fulfilled?
No.
I.e. happy. Why not?
Because they're finite, and we're not meant for we're not meant to be finite.
So in other words, the finite can only fulfill the finite.
Well, wasn't it Pascal who said there's a God-sized hole inside of each of us?
That's a pretty big hole.
Yeah.
So no matter how much you try to fill that void, which every human being has, with things of the world, temporal goods, money, food, sex, material goods, what have you, it's not going to be filled? Is that what you folks are saying?
That's correct.
Yeah. All these things, especially in the modern world, we seem to think that, you know, sex, money, in Aristotle's time they would add honor. I think that's a concept that seems to be a little bit lost. But all these sorts of things in this world aren't quite
there. Then if those things aren't food for the human spirit, what is food for the soul?
The
Just that was handed to you in a silver platter.
Yeah.
Boom. So how? I mean, let's face it. So many Catholics today, if they go to Mass, they're looking at their watches. They don't really appreciate what's going on.
That's absolutely true.
Why?
I mean,
If this
we
is
don't
the answer.
appreciate the value of the Eucharist when we go up to the Eucharist. I think it was. This may be apocryphal. Probably is. But
Don't worry about it.
It's said that Gandhi once said that if he believed what we believed about the Eucharist, he would approach it on his hands and knees.
All right.
And I guess we need to state it like explicitly here.
Maybe we should do that.
Yeah.
During Lent, anyway.
What is in the appearance of bread and wine is actually the body and blood of Jesus Christ.
What would you folks say
Soul
to
and divinity?
Soul and divinity, yes.
The Council of Trent said all four are present in the one, either species, bread, the sacred bread or the sacred wine, which is the body and blood, symbolically. So what would you say to folks that, and I'm sure there's probably a lot of people listening, that's really symbolic. They're just trying to remember, as Jesus said, the Last Supper when they do that.
Well, if they believe Jesus is God.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll go off that premise that they believe Jesus.
Let's go even in back of that. God exists.
God exists.
Okay. Jesus is God.
Okay. Jesus is God.
Yeah. What's next?
And so if Jesus is God,
yeah,
and God is all powerful, all-knowing.
Yeah.
So he's omniscient and omnipotent.
Yeah.
So if he's those things, and he has no beginning and no end,
which means eternal.